Hey, Crossridge, it is Tuesday, the Tuesday after a long weekend, and so I hope you had a fantastic long weekend, whatever that looks like in the midst of all this. We're continuing our journey through the Psalms, and today we come to Psalm 9. Psalm 9 is a longer psalm, so we're going to go through it in three chunks. I think of this psalm in terms of past, present, and future. Really thinking about what God has done, what he is doing, and what he will do. So let's begin with the first 6 verses that speak about God's past faithfulness or past deliverance. It says, I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will recount all your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and exult in you. I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before your presence. For you have maintained my just cause. You have sat on the throne giving righteous judgment. You have rebuked the nations. You have made the wicked perish. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemy came to an end in everlasting ruins. Their cities you rooted out. The very memory of them has perished. And what David is doing here is he's recounting God's past deliverance, his past faithfulness, the times he's shown up in his life. And it's always good for us to just to be reminded of what it is that God has done for us, the ways he has met us in the past. The old hymn writer said it this way: count your many blessings, name them one by one, count your many blessings and see or be surprised at what God has done. It's always good for us to go back and remember God's past deliverance, his past faithfulness to us. The second part of the psalm, verses 7 to 12, look at the present. But the Lord sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for justice, and he judges the world with righteousness. He judges the people with uprightness. The Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Sing praises to the Lord who sits enthroned in Zion. Tell among the peoples his deeds. For he who avenges blood is mindful of them. He does not forget the cry of the afflicted. God has not just done things in the past. He is presently on the throne, ruling and reigning. And David's counsel here is really that for anyone who's in the midst of trouble, they can call out to God at this moment because he hears them. And then the psalm ends. The final section really focuses on the future from verse 13 to the end of the psalm. It says, be gracious to me, O Lord. See my affliction from those who hate me. O you who lift me up from the gates of death, that I may recount all your praises, that in the gates of the daughter of Zion I may rejoice in your salvation. The nations have sunk in the pit that they have made. In the net that they hid, their own foot has been caught. The Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The wicked are snared in the work of their own hands. The wicked shall return to Sheol, all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The hope of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before you. Put them in fear, O Lord. Let the nations know that they are but men. In many ways, verse 13, you could almost start a new psalm here as David begins, be gracious to me, O Lord. But what he's really doing is he's done all the other work first. He's reflected on God's past faithfulness. He's recounted God's present position sitting on the throne. And now that's what gives him confidence to face an uncertain future. It's really not uncertain because he knows who God is and what he will do. What's interesting about what David says here about the future is it's not just that he wants deliverance. It's not just that he wants his circumstances or his situation to change. What he wants is to be able to praise God for what he knows he will do. And so he prays with anticipation. And he says, that I may recount all your praises, that in the gates of the daughter of Zion I may rejoice in your salvation. And what David wants is he wants God to deliver him so that God might get the glory. And whatever situation we're facing, that ought to be our prayer as well, that God would not only deliver us, that he would not only rescue us and step in and intervene, but that as a result of that, we might be able to speak his praises.